Hey guys, my name is Wildcard and welcome back to Weekly Rugby News. Now, despite the fact that there was just one friendly international match being played this weekend, the British and Irish Lions versus Japan, the news has just been exploding over the week, okay? There was so much weird controversies, rule changes to the game that we just have to talk about. Now, let's just go through everything and see what actually been happening last week, okay? So first up, the British and Irish Lions played a historic first time ever against Japan. And this was a friendly match. The British and Irish Lions came out. Japan, first of all, looked really good. Their set pieces looked good. Their attack looked good. And but the British and Irish Lions, just that little bit better. Just a bit more physicality, maybe. Yeah, I think Japan just a little bit more physically more dominant over Japan. And in the first half, the Lions were able to put on 3 tries. And really, in the second half, the Lions just sort of like took it easy and wanted to make sure no one gets injured. And Japan came out the second half, managed to get 1 try on the ball for themselves with the Rookie of the Year for Super Rugby, Aotearoa, Himeno-san, the number 8, who came off the bench and managed to score a try for Japan, which was really, really good. Which was the highlight of the game. My most, I jumped out of my chair for that try. That was the most exciting moment of the weekend for me, when Himeno-san goes over for a try for Japan over the British and Irish Lions. But eventually, the British and Irish Lions closed the game 28 points to 10. The big news came out of this seemingly unimportant game is the fact that Alun Wyn Jones, the captain of Wales, the captain of the British Irish Lions, Warren Gatland's BFF, he copped a dislocated shoulder 7 minutes into the match against Japan. Now on TV, it didn't look like he had a wrist injury on TV because he was holding his wrist, and it didn't really look like that much of an impact. It was one of the Japanese players came in to clean him out, and just looked like a pretty standard clean out. And Wyn Jones went down. He was on the ground in a tremendous amount of pain, and then they took him off, and he was holding his wrist, and so you would think that it was something to do with his wrist. He was taken off the field, and halfway through the game, they were like showing footage of him sitting on the bench, like talking, and didn't look like he was in tremendous amount of pain. So everyone sort of figures that he was going to be okay, but nah, unfortunately, it's going to be a shoulder injury. In the post-match interview with Wayne Pivac, what's his name? Warren Gatland, it literally sounded like he was at a funeral. He was really, really somber about the occasion. And he literally talked about it was dislocated shoulder. And despite the fact that the test matches are still like a month away, and he could potentially make a recovery for the test matches, or maybe one of the test matches. But yeah, Gatland was like, we really can't take him on tour. And just, that's really, really unfortunate. Alun Wyn Jones, an absolute titan of the game, 35 years of age, and maybe it's time to retire. Don't get triggered. Just a joke, okay? He's never gonna retire. Just take it easy, okay? I can hear you screaming if you're all the world screaming. Okay, he's not gonna retire. He's gonna play forever. Okay, it's okay. 35. There's people playing Japan when they're like 38, 40. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. Just take it easy. It's just a joke. So as a result of his injury, Conor Murray, the Irish fly half, is named the captain, and big loss. So that was, there was a few options they could have selected for the captaincy, but Conor Murray, the decision eventually made. But the big controversy is that they called up to replace Wyn Jones. Show notifications? No. to replace Alun Wyn Jones with why is this just not showing for me? With Adam Beard, okay? And there's been a lot of controversy because apparently Adam Beard was axed by Wales in autumn, so he wasn't even in the Six Nations from the sound of it. And I can't remember if he played for Six Nations or not. So yeah, so he wasn't really even in the team for he's been out of the Welsh team for about 8 months. And Warren Gatland decided to select him based on his form from 2019. Someone please remind Warren Gatland it's 2021 now. And yeah, so basically Gatland talked about how he was really, really good, essentially in 2019. He was talking about he's been a workhorse. He talks about being good at lineouts. But this was in 2019. The last time, this was really questionable. Especially and this actually riled up the Irish fans because everyone thought James Ryan should have been selected. As you can see, James Ryan, he's been a solid player for the Lions. He is really, really, really good as a second rower. The Irish forward pack has been really, really, really good in the Six Nations this year. But despite the fact that the Irish team lost many of the games, but their forward pack, they would have lost a lot more if it wasn't for the Irish forward pack. The Irish forward pack did tremendously well in the Six Nations, and he was supposed to be the first up, but then he suddenly got injured as well. So he wasn't eligible, I guess. And then it turned into Jonny Gray from Scotland, right? Jonny Gray. So the discussions were why Jonny Gray wasn't selected. And again, and to be honest, Jonny Gray, in my books, should have been selected. He has been absolute everywhere for Scotland this year. Scotland came second, including a historic win over England in the Six Nations at Twickenham. And Jonny Gray, man, he's just everywhere. I didn't even know this guy. I didn't even know this guy. But the fact that every time I watch a Scotland game, the commentators keep calling his name out constantly. Jonny Gray, Jonny Gray, Jonny Gray, Jonny Gray, Jonny Gray. At one point, when Scotland was playing England, I kid you not, I thought that the commentators were supposed to be talking about Jonny May, the English winger. I thought they were supposed to be talking about Jonny May, but they're I genuinely don't know. But then I'm like, wait, no, it's Jonny Gray. I had to check who this guy was to make sure that I wasn't hearing things wrong. They were talking about Jonny May instead of I'm just hearing it incorrectly or something. I'm having hearing issues. This guy was just tremendous for the Scottish team and wasn't selected. So this was probably the controversy for me. Let's say the Irish guy is injured, but Jonny Gray should definitely have a run at the Irish Lions team. Especially when you talk about selecting this guy based on his form from 2019. Warren Gatland, mate. I know you've been locked down, and I know you haven't been working as whatever. So this is quite a bit of controversy come out of there. Let's move on. So now we're going to talk about some more controversy out of this stupidity, right? So World Rugby decides to adopt new laws for 12 months, for the next 12 months in international test rugby. And the new laws that they decided to adopt is the 50-22 kicking rule, okay? Which is really stupid. And the scrummaging for getting held off, and for a goal line dropout for getting held up over the try line. Now, both of these rules are absolutely stupid. This rules works for Super Rugby because the level of players, the level of competition is lower, and more of a running game is played in Test rugby. This is just stupid. These rules are stupid. 50-22. You realize in Test rugby, people can kick like 70 meters, right? You realize people can kick 70 meters. So you can literally get a 50-22 from a kick inside your own 22. Like, it's just preposterous. So what this 50-22 rule is, if you don't know, if you kick the ball out and it bounced in field and rolls out in the opposition 22 from within your own half, so it's only like a 38 meter kick or something. Not even 38 kick. 28 meter kick. It's only a 28 meter kick. So if you kick the ball from inside your half and it goes out inside the opposition 22 and it bounces on the ground, then you get the ball back. The attacking team gets the ball back. So it's kind of like the 40-20 rule in rugby league. Anyway, whatever. But the problem with this is, in rugby union, there's already overwhelming amount of kicking, and the fans has overwhelmingly complaints about this excessive amount of kicking in the game. That leads to just like a breakdown in fluid gameplay. And there's already fans against it. With this introduced, you just gotta incentivize more kicking. And I kid you not, in 2019, France played England in France, Stade de France. One of the French players kicked the ball out from his own 5-meter line it rolled out just outside the English 5-meter line. He did a 90-meter kick, and that would have been a 50-22 under the new rules. Like, preposterous amount of, like, the kicking distance is preposterous in international rugby. This rule is going to be so stupid. The international rugby, you're going to see 50-22s being given from just ridiculous long kicks. It's just so dumb. So dumb. So they're going to introduce this rule for a year, to test it for a year. I just genuinely don't understand who the hell gets paid to work at World Rugby to come up with these stupid ideas. Now that's the first stupid idea. Second one, it's even more stupider than the first one. So now, in the current rules, if you get held over the try line, say if you go for a try and you get held up, you get a scrum back, a 5-meter attacking scrum feed, right? Which means that you can attack again. You still have the opportunity to score. Under this new rule, if you get held over the try line, it's a goal line dropout. You lose the opportunity to go again. I kid you not. I know none of you guys probably watch Super Rugby AU. I watch Super Rugby AU. I've seen tries being scored and the players being afraid that it wasn't going to be given because the cameras might not be able to see it. They roll the ball back in field to keep the ball in play so they don't lose the ball. It's so preposterously stupid. I've seen Tanelo Tupou score a try and then he puts the ball back in field so that they can go again and score another one. I kid you not. I've seen this in Super Rugby AU. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. The attacking team has to make sure they score and has to make sure the camera can see it. Otherwise, it's a goal line dropout. It's so dumb. It's so stupid. And they got it. It's coming in for 12 months. That's World Rugby for you. Now, if that's like, okay, whatever. Like, these things are not that important. Like, honestly, the next thing I'm going to mention, you're going to jump over your seats, okay? There's overwhelming support from rugby all around the world for a 20-minute red card, okay? If you get red carded, it's a 20 minutes and they have to replace you, so you can't just come back on the field, okay? And this has been done in Super Rugby and is one of the most, probably not most successful. It is the most successful change in Super Rugby. Because nowadays, World Rugby really takes high shots seriously. So a red card is given out quite often now in rugby. compared to before. Like, literally, there was some stats, like, Sonny Bill Williams was like the second person or third person to ever get a red card in the history of All Blacks rugby or something. And nowadays, red cards are just given out like business cards, right? Like 100-something years history, there was like 3 red cards given for the All Blacks, against the All Blacks. And nowadays, there's just red cards given out every game, almost every second game, because of the high shot rules. Anyway, so a 20-minute red card will make more sense, because if a player goes off the field for the whole duration of the game, it's just, you completely ruin the game. It's just not, like, in some cases, you're just not watchable. We like the Rugby World Cup, half the games in the pool stages were not watchable. 2019. That was the 2019 Rugby World Cup, by the way, was the worst World Cup in terms of refereeing ever. There was just games completely being ruined instantly because of red card. Argentina instantly lost to England like 20 minutes or 30 minutes into the first game, in the first half, because of an accidental like headshot or something. And instantly the game was over for Argentina. I did not have to watch anymore. I turned the TV off 20 minutes into the Rugby World Cup game. I did not want to do that, but the writings was on the wall. There was one player less missing in Argentina, and England's just slowly rolling the team over for a win. Like, it's so bad the way the red cards rules are done these days, especially when how easily you could get a red card just by complete accident. You know, sure, if someone comes in and punches you and gets a red card, that guy, then to send that guy off for the full duration of 60 minutes and having one person less in your team, that's acceptable. But if you're just going in for a tackle and someone like drop his height or something and you accidentally like smack someone in the head with your forearm or shoulder, that should not be a red card. Anyway, like, that should not just that should be a red card, but that should not be your team just lose the game just because of an accidental shoulder charge or something, right? Like that should not be, your whole team should not be punished because of a just weird freakish accident. And that's basically something that should be implemented, and the World Rugby decides they don't want to do it. And yet they wanted to do 50-22 and goal line dropouts if you don't score a try. You gotta make sure the cameras are on you. If you pull the ball down and the cameras can't see you and the referee can't see you, you lose your chance to go again, mate. It's just awful. Like, whoever works at World Rugby needs to get fired. The people that work for this shit needs to get, like, just get out of the way. You're old. You're useless. You have no idea what's going on. And you probably don't even watch any of these rugby games. If any of the people at World Rugby actually watch any Super Rugby AU, please let me know, okay? I will personally pay you money. Please show me that you've watched, anyone that works at World Rugby, show me any evidence that you actually watch any Super Rugby AU. I will personally give you my money. Anyway, let's move to something else. South Africa had a bit of a COVID scare. 3 of their players was tested positive. Jantjies is recovered, but the other 2 players are still kind of, I guess, still in quarantine. But yeah, they've been able to get back to training. And their first match, I guess, a warm-up match, is against Georgia on 5th of July, I think, in a week or so. Oh, actually, this weekend, actually. So, yeah, should be able to be okay for that, South Africa. And then we have, due to the COVID restrictions in Australia, the game between Australia and France played in Sydney. We moved to Brisbane. And that will not be played in Sydney. And currently, there's a bit of outbreak going on in Queensland as well. So, yeah, that could get to a point where it's crowd restricted as well. Not sure how that's going to go. And then we have a couple injuries from the Wallabies camp. Nick White is out. And also the Scott Seo is also injured. But Nick White, I'm not too worried because Tate McDermott should be starting anyway. They're making it sound like it's a big deal, but I do think Tate McDermott should start over Nick White. And the Waratahs fly half is the reserve, who did pretty good as well for the Waratahs. What's his name? I can't remember. I know what he looks like, but I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. and Orr gets caught in from the Melbourne Rebels. In fact, I did think that Orr is one of the few, the Melbourne Rebels front rowers if they were going to get a spot in the Wallabies squad, some of the players could potentially get a Wallabies squad, because the forward, especially the front rowers, did pretty solid job for the Rebels, unlike the rest of the chokers. But, it's good to see that Orr gets caught in. I don't think they need him. Yeah, they do. I don't think they need him, because they have like Tupou. I don't think they actually need him as a starting player, but it's just like injury reserve, I think. And then lastly, Australian Rugby decides to support Fijian Rugby Union in high performance programs. I'm not too sure how I feel about this. I do feel like this is something that potentially is just the way Australia tries to poach. I don't know. Maybe it's the way they try to poach more Fijian rugby players to play for the Wallabies. You can tell this is a bit of a cop-out. They said that they say that cultural and economic recovery to help the regions. You're gonna pay a few rugby players you're gonna pay a few people to be professional, to train, not even play for professional rugby, just to have professional rugby training. That's gonna help Fiji recovery the economy. I genuinely don't think that's just a cop-out, but I do think it's one of two things. I think it's probably a way for Australian Rugby to get more Fijian players to play on the Wallaby team. There are already quite a few really, really outstanding players for the Wallabies. For us Fijians, I just don't see that. Yeah, I'm not too sure about how good this actually is. But yeah, and also, to be honest, if the Australian government is going to spend money, they should probably spend it in Australia. And they probably see more value in getting Fijian players potentially play for Australia than developing local players. And that's probably why they're doing this. But that's what they're doing. Anyway, that's the news for the week. The rule changes are probably the stupidest things ever. And once again, if you know somebody who works at World Rugby, okay, that actually watches Super Rugby AU, just let me know. I will personally give them my money if they can show me a subscription to Stan Sport. I will give you my money to pay for your subscription, okay? I genuinely don't believe anyone working at World Rugby watches Super Rugby AU, okay? It's just awful. These people are just stupid, awful. Not awful. I wouldn't say they're awful. They're just out of touch, probably I would say. And they really just don't know the state of the game is today. The red card really needs to be changed. They didn't change. The 50-22, really unnecessary. Really it's not something that the fans want. The New Zealanders really hard. I just genuinely don't see how you can play this game when you can literally kick 70, 80, 90 meters as a professional player, and you can just give the ball back to the opposition when you make that kick. It's just genuinely mind-boggling how they thought that was a good idea. And also, how is that you lose the ball to go again if you don't score a try, and you lose the opportunity to have a 5-meter scrum? Is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. Like I've said, it's just preposterous. People don't watch Super Rugby AU, are just making decisions. Yeah, anyway. I'm just gonna cut it here. Thanks for watching, guys. And to some of the guys who does support my channel, who subscribe to my membership, I really appreciate it. Every bit of money you pay me really helps, because I have to pay these, I potentially have to pay these people from World Rugby if they show me evidence. So thank you for your money, because that's probably going to go to World Rugby if anyone actually come out and show me evidence. But really appreciate it. Really appreciate all your comments. And this weekend there's a few international games. I'm not sure if I'm gonna watch all of them. They're all just like friendly games, but we shall see. There's quite a bit of rugby this weekend. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys soon.